Good morning, students. Today let us study about divisive clustering, which is a form of hierarchical clustering. So let us see the key takeaways for today's session. So firstly, we will have a brief introduction on clustering. Then we will see more details about divisive clustering. Divisive clustering is a form of clustering technique which is working in an opposite manner of agglomerative clustering, which we studied in the previous session. Then we will study the comparison of agglomerative clustering and divisive clustering. Then let us see about the metrics that are used for clustering, specifically all types of clustering, and followed by certain assignments. So divisive clustering, as I told you, is an hierarchical technique that is very efficient, very complex algorithm, and it is very important in hierarchical clustering techniques. So it works, as I told you, as opposite of agglomerative clustering. It basically follows the top-down approach, which whereas some of the algorithms follow bottom-up approach and some algorithms follow top-down approach. So we will see more about divisive clustering. Firstly, we'll see about clustering. So clustering analysis or clustering is an unsupervised machine learning task where the data set is not labeled and there is no supervisor. So it involves automatically discovering natural grouping of the data. So whatever data is given, the algorithm tries to find a natural grouping based on the features available in the data set. So clustering or cluster analysis is a machine learning technique which groups the unlabeled data set. The data set given here is going to be unlabeled. The names are not going to be specified for the features. So unlike supervised learning where the labels are given and there is a supervisor. So like for example, you have predictive modeling is a form of supervised learning. So clustering algorithms only interpret the input data and they try to find a natural grouping or clusters in the feature space. Now let us see about divisive clustering. So this is the reverse of agglomerative clustering and it follows the top-down approach. Right? So it follows the top-down approach. So it is commonly referred to as DINA, which means divisive analysis, and this works in a top-down manner. Right? So it basically begins with a root in which all the observations are included. A single root is considered in which all the clusters to be considered are clubbed together, and each step of the algorithm, the current cluster is basically split into two clusters that are considered to be heterogeneous, which are very different from each other. So splitting is done where the heterogeneous nodes are separated and the process is iterated until all the observations are in their own cluster, until all the observations are belonging to a homogeneous cluster. So divisive clustering is better at identifying large clusters, big clusters. So this is basically a figure which is trying to show the way divisive clustering works. Basically it follows the top-down approach where you can see all the nodes, all the clusters are clubbed together, that is A, B, C, D, E, F, G are all nodes which are going to be clustered, are clubbed together, and then we try to apply splitting where an heterogeneous concept is seen, which two nodes are separate, are based on certain groupings are separated. So here you have FGH separated from ABCD. Again the same approach is followed. Let us see on the left side. FGH is again separated with FG and H, they are more heterogeneous, and FG is again separated to G and F. Right? So this is how they are separated till the lowest cluster or the minimum cluster is obtained. Similarly, the same pattern can be observed for A, B, C, D, E, which is again broken up into B, C, D, E based on the heterogeneous factor, and then A is completely separate, so A is separated, and then B, C, D is again broken up into D, E and B, C, and D is broken up into E and D because they are separate, and there is various factors which are differentiating the cluster, and then you have B, C which is C and D. So this is how the divisive clustering works. Now, there are various steps which we discussed in the previous diagram. So, firstly, we are given a data set that is D1, D2 up to Dn. This is basically a generic way of clustering, and generic steps basically for divisive clustering. These are basically of size n at the top. We have all the data in one cluster as we saw in the previous diagram. And the cluster is split using a flat clustering method, that is k-means. Okay? And this is repeated by choosing the best cluster among the clusters to split. You split the cluster by using the flat clustering algorithm, and until each data is in its own singleton cluster, till a single cluster is obtained, these steps are repeated. Now let us see the difference between agglomerative versus divisive clustering. We have seen agglomerative clustering in the previous session. So divisive clustering is more complex as compared to agglomerative clustering. As in case of divisive, we need a flat clustering means as a subroutine to split each cluster until we have each data having its own singleton cluster. We have seen in the diagram, clustering techniques work still a smallest cluster or a singleton cluster is obtained where only a single element is a part of a cluster, that is a singleton cluster. So divisive clustering is more efficient if we do not generate a complete hierarchy all the way down to the individual data leaves. The time complexity of Naive agglomerative clustering is big O of n cube, which is comparatively very high, because we have to exhaustively scan the n cross n matrix, that is the distance matrix, from the lowest distance in each n minus 1 iterations. So using priority queue data structure, we can reduce the complexity to big O of n square log n. So by using some optimizations, it can be brought down to big O of n square. So whereas for divisive clustering, given a fixed number of top levels, using an efficient flat algorithm like k-means, divisive algorithms are linear in the number of patterns and clusters. So they basically are very linear in the number of patterns and clusters. Now, regarding the other comparison parameters, divisive algorithm is also more accurate. Right? So, agglomerative clustering makes decisions by considering the local patterns or neighbor patterns, right? Where they do not basically or without initially taking into account the global distribution of the data. So here the global distribution of the data is not considered, and only the local patterns or the neighboring points are considered. So these are very early decisions and they cannot be undone. So whereas divisive clustering takes into consideration the global distribution of data, where making top level partitions decisions. So here top level partitioning decisions are made. Now considering the other points, that is the comparison between k-means and hierarchical clustering algorithms based on certain parameters. So firstly we have the category. So category for k-means clustering would be centroid based and partition based, whereas for hierarchical clustering it is agglomerative and divisive. And the method used to find the optimal number of clusters, elbow method using WCSS is used for k-means, whereas a dendrogram technique is used for hierarchical clustering. The directional approach, not any approach, the only centroid is considered to form clusters in the form of k-means, whereas in hierarchical clustering you have the top-down and the bottom-up approach. Then the Python library used for k-means clustering is k-means, whereas for hierarchical clustering it is agglomerative clustering, sklearn agglomerative clustering. Now elbow method is basically a heuristic method, and in cluster analysis this is used in determining the number of clusters in the data set. How many clusters can be made, right? That can be done by using the elbow method. It is a very heuristic method. So this method basically consists of plotting the explained variation as a function. Here you can see the graph is basically in the form of an elbow, right? The variation of as a function of number of clusters, and picking the elbow of the curve as the number of clusters to use. So here you can see the number of clusters k is plotted against the total within sum of square. So here you can see the cut is at 4, so you can see the optimal number of clusters could be 4. So let us see the metrics for clustering. As we have seen the different types of clustering techniques, now we have to evaluate the clustering techniques, right? So these are the metrics to evaluate. So these metrics only evaluate the comparative performance of model against each other rather than measuring the validity of model's prediction. So prediction techniques are separate and their validity is calculated separate. So these metrics basically only evaluate the comparative performance of the models. So some of the metrics we deploy for clustering algorithm is to measure the quality of model. Right? Algorithms, these metrics are basically going to measure the quality of the model of the specific algorithm. So you have Silhouette analysis, this is one of the best metrics. Then you have the Davids-Bouldin index, which is termed as DB index, and then you have Dunn index. So these are the metrics basically used to measure the quality of model. Now let us see about Silhouette analysis. So this is basically measured like S of I equal to Bi minus Ai upon max of Ai comma Bi. So this is basically the formula for measuring the Silhouette index. So where Ai is the average distance of the point I from all the other points in its cluster, and Bi is the smallest average distance of I to all the points in the any other cluster. So to clarify, Bi is basically found by measuring the average distance of I from every point in the cluster E. So the average distance of I from every point in cluster B and taking the smallest resulting value. So here Bi and Ai are basically the average distance from the point I, and the max of the value is also considered in the denominator. Now Silhouette coefficient basically tells us how well assigned each individual point is. There is a comparison for value of 0 minus 1, right? So if S of I is close to 0, it is at the right at the inflection point between the two clusters. So it is at a specific point which is very much right to the inflection point. And whereas if it is closer to minus 1, then we would have to have been better off assigning it to the other cluster. So it is better assigned to the other cluster. So if it is close to 1, then the point is well assigned and can be interpreted as belong to an appropriate cluster. So the values are S of I takes 0, minus 1 and 1. And if it is 1, it is well assigned. If it is 0, it is at the inflection point between the two clusters. And if it is minus 1, then it is better assigned to some other cluster. Now Silhouette coefficient is very initiative and sophisticated measure of distance. So its downfall is that it can be extremely expensive to compute on all endpoints. So this is because we must compute the distance of I from all other n-1 points for each I, which leads to a complexity of big O of n square. So the complexity here is big O of n square. So it is a very sophisticated and initiative measure of distance. Now let us see about DB index, that is Davids-Bouldin index. So this is basically calculated as dB is equal to 1 upon n, summation of I equal to 1 to n, max of sigma of I plus sigma of j upon d of Ci comma Cj, which is the distance, and where n is the number of clusters and sigma is the average distance of all the points in the cluster I from the cluster centroid Ci. Now DB index basically captures the initiative that the clusters that are well spaced from each other, they have to be very well spaced, very good distance from each other, and themselves very dense are likely a good cluster. Right? So this is because the measures max statement repeatedly selects the values which are the average point and farthest away from its centroid, right? And where the centroids are closest to each other or closest together. So as DB index shrinks, the clustering method is better. So DB index shrinks, then the clustering technique is considered as better. Then let us see about Dunn index. So the formula for Dunn index is D is equal to minimum of I, which varies from 1 to j, which is less than equal to n, d of ij, that is the distance, upon max of k, which is ranging from 1 to n, d dash of k. So where I, j and k are each are indices for the clusters. D is the measure of the intra-cluster distance, and d dash is the intra-cluster distance. One is the inter-cluster distance, and d is the inter-cluster distance, and d dash is the intra-cluster distance. Right. So the Dunn index basically captures the same area as the DB index as we saw. So it basically gets better when clusters are well spaced and dense. So but Dunn index increases as the performance improves. So this is basically going to be directly proportional to the performance. If the performance increases, Dunn index is also going to increase. Now, while the DB index considers the dispersion and the separation of all the clusters, Dunn index only considers the worst cases in the cluster. So the clusters that are closest together and the single most dispersed cluster. So this was it about Dunn index. These are certain assignments specific to this topic where we are asking you the working of divisive clustering, the comparison and contrast between the agglomerative clustering and the divisive clustering, and the various metrics that are used to evaluate a clustering method. So these are very important metrics, so you please study them properly. And if you have any queries, do not hesitate to contact me at the specified email ID. And thank you, we are done for today.